evening. Welcome, Mr. Lawrence Milano. If I said that correct, if you'll come up to the podium, sir, you may go. Hands up, Dana.
It is, it should be, yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, as you stated, my name is Lawrence Milana. I live on County Road 2222. And I just came to request that, I don't actually know if it can be done right away, but would like it to be discussed that County Road 22 be paved. It is a dangerous situation right now. Even when it's dry, the gravel on the surface makes it very unstable for both four and two-wheel vehicles. And when it's wet, it's downright hazardous. I have fallen once when it was raining coming down the road I ride a motorcycle a lot of times. And coming down the road, I was going very, very slowly, maybe about 10 miles an hour to avoid sliding. And the water had made a rut on the side of the road. My front wheel caught the rut and I just fell over. It was kind of comical looking because I fell in slow motion, but still. Again, it's a hazardous situation, and on behalf of the other 9 residents on the road, I would like to request that something be done about it. Now, I was told it might be a problem budgetarily, but I just wanted to bring up the fact that we moved into the house last August. Since then, which is almost a year, I have seen going up and down the road at least 4 or 5 times heavy equipment, graders, dump trucks, and so forth. And that has to cost a lot of money. I used to work in public utilities, so I know that costs a lot of money. If they have the money to continually grade the road, the money to do that could easily be rechanneled into paving the road, which would eliminate that expense of having to grade it continually. So I would just like to put that bug in your ear to see if that road can be paved.
Everybody got any comments?
We're gonna sit, the engineer and I, we're gonna sit down with y'all on the break and talk a little bit about some short-term stuff that we were just discussing here before the meeting started, okay?
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much for coming.
Okay.
tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen
Appreciate
and ladies, for hearing me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Susie, come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Chair, County Commissioners. I'm Susie Copeland, and I live at 4964 County Road 3319 in Troy. I'm here this evening to talk or to make an inquiry as to the installation of broadband services on the northern portion of 3319. Last year, there was installation of broadband done on the southern portion of 3319. And I'd like to see that happen on the northern portion of 3319 as well. I also called Troy Cable to make the inquiry as to when that installation would take place. I left a message for the construction engineer to return the call to me last week, and I've not heard back from the engineer. In addition to the broadband installation, we have a problem with speeding on 3319. There's a posted speed of 35, but those vehicles are going much, much faster. We have a high number of 18-wheelers coming through there, and with that Whitewater Bridge down there, it can pose to me some serious danger for the residents that live on 3319. I also made an inquiry with Commissioner Copeland, and he did respond regarding the recycling program out in rural Pike County. I am an advocate of preserving our environment, and I would like to see some implementation of a recycling program out in rural Pike County. I think it would be a great service not only to our environment, but as well as to Pike County as a whole. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Copeland has some responses to some of that.
But I can address some of it. So number one, I'm sorry about not calling you back on the internet question. It's been kind of crazy 2 weeks. So the section on 3319 is unserved today, will be served. So the project that it's in has a deadline of 2026. There've been 8 total grants and 1 federal project to try to get rural broadband into all of these areas, plus a lot of private funds. There's currently an ADECA grant that's being finished up in Pike County. Trying to think of the right way to say this. The idea is to pull all that construction that has a 2026 deadline into 2024. Okay. That's the plan. That's what's trying to be figured out right now, and getting all those things put together. It's a lot to it on the engineering part, because we're talking about, I think it's 500, a little over 500 miles worth of engineering that we're trying to put in. So I guess the best answer I can give you is we're going to try our very best to have all of it finished by the end of 2024.
Very good, thank you. It's a little longer than I would like, but at least I know that I have hopefully a productivity to 2024.
So we're desperately trying to get all that done. One thing that helps is being in friendly areas. Most of the county areas around here, Dale, Pike, which are all quote-unquote friendly, easy to permit, easy to work with areas, so we hope that we can pull that in even sooner. But I can't tell you that officially. Officially, the deadline is 2026, but I doubt very much that it takes that long to get done.
So the planning of the installation is done in sections, because the southern portion, and I was told it was a different grant. So when the grants come in, they are awarded to various areas.
So the other areas on 3319 were included in the ADECA grants that have 2-year time frames.
Okay.
And so, like I said, there's been 8. The first one, it was in 2018, I think, 2018, 2019. So, and some of it is kind of crazy, but the rules have changed over the years. So this part was eligible year 1, for the rest wasn't. And these parts were eligible in the second round, and some weren't. Some of that goes to the homes per mile, and just different factors.
Okay.
But that's kind of reason, it actually is cheaper if we can go to an area and we can just do it all there.
Absolutely.
So we try to take that into account as much as we can. But because of the dueling deadlines, right? And so we may have 200 miles that we got to finish by next July.
Okay.
Well, we have to focus on that, because all of these grants are, you get a reimbursement at the end of it. So if you don't meet your deadlines and you don't meet the things that you've got to do, you basically don't get anything. So missing one of those deadlines is, you probably wouldn't be calling me at that same number if I missed one of those deadlines. So we're always trying to juggle those. But by the end of 2024, I feel fairly confident that you will, every resident on 3319 will be able to get service.
Now, the deadline for the grants, application was made to the state or the federal government for these grants. So you put a specific location in the grant application.
Well, there's eligibility criteria of what we can put in there, right? And so all of this is public information. If you go to DACA's website, there's it's a new division for them, but it's the broadband division. It's not called exactly that, but if you go to their divisions, it'll be clear which one it is. And go to their map. And there's a lot of things, like you can pull up which grants, you can see who's awarded grants,
Okay.
you can see these federal projects, you can see where people have applied for grants to serve broadband. There's a lot of information out there.
All right, thank you.
And then one more on the recycling program.
Sure.
So it is cost prohibitive for us to set up a recycling program that is county owned. So we have asked, and we had some conversation with the city of Troy about the citizens outside of Troy, outside of the city limits of Troy, being able to bring their recycling in to their recycling center. We don't really have an answer on that yet, but that's probably the best option that we have as a county to try to do something. Is to try to piggyback on the city of Troy, because the cost of that is pretty prohibitive to running, in other words, to running trucks, pick up recycling.
So even if the city of Troy agrees to the county using their recycling bins, would it be possible to advocate for some sites or at least a drop-off spot in the rural area?
I don't know the answer to that today.
Okay.
So we've been working on a myriad of different things that combat litter, and this is kind of part one of them. So one of the things, obviously, you've probably seen our crews are picking up trash. The next thing that we tried to do is we tried to get some dumpster sites in the county for garbage. We're only at one right now. We're trying to get up to 4 or 5, maybe even 6. If those were, then we might do a pilot plan to set recycling there. But the problem with that again is, if we can't police, if you take in recycling to the city, then they can see, hey, this is what they're supposed to do. And you will be responsible for that, right? You will be responsible and you'll do it right. If we set a recycling bin out at just somewhere in the county, and people that aren't as responsible go and throw a bunch of trash in, well, that whole bin full of recycling materials, we either have to pay for somebody to sort it, or we have to just turn around and dump it. Because we don't have the manpower and the resources to do it. But I guess the point is, we are thinking, we are trying to figure out ways that we can get county residents options to do recycling as well.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here, appreciate it. Engineer report.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
We have one item under new business. That's the fiscal year 23 county transportation plan. Just as a reminder that in accordance with the Rebuild Alabama Act, your plan has to be adopted by you before the end of, or by the end of August. So what we did, there are some other sources of funding that y'all have identified for resurfacing over the next couple of years. So I handed out this spreadsheet to you. On the back of it, there's a table that shows the anticipated funding amounts. And those are the, just the categories that have been identified. So the first two, CRAF and FAEF, those are the two that were generated by the Rebuild Alabama Act. So those will be on your CPP. The other two you can see there are just, road and bridge fund, general fund items. So we took your feedback and, our list of greatest needs, if you will, and just put together a tentative list for the next 2 years. We call it the 24-month plan 2023. You did have a previous 24-month plan a few years back, so if you want to put a plan together, we can call it something else, call it whatever you want to. But these are the roads that we came up with, or the projects that we came up with. Like I said, based on your feedback and based on the greatest needs. So if you look down at the bottom here, where the estimate, the cost estimates are totaled up, you can see that number, which is $6.56 million, is about $190,000 more than the total of the funding that we back. So that means, and now, this list does not represent all of our needs, obviously. There are many other, several other roads we can put on here. But anyway, so what we have here would require, based on our estimates, which, you know, I can throw this in there too. You know, we all know how crazy the market is right now, so I have no idea if, you know, these numbers are going to go up drastically or come back down. They're up significantly higher than they were a couple of years ago right now. And I know y'all are all familiar with why and what's going on in the economy right now, so that's just, these are just estimates, but they are based on the most recent actual cost data we have for the researching that we're doing now. So they're pretty good estimates for now, but over the next 2 years, there are subject to change. So having said all that, based on the estimates that we have, we're about $190,000 short here. So, you know, we could take some projects off, take some roads off of this list, or we can maybe find some other funding that's possible over the next 2 years. We could use the lodging tax fund or some other source.
Go ahead, sir.
Something you might could revise and email out to us, just so we can see what it do the numbers. I want you to look at 1143 from, I guess that would be the south half, from 1166 to the stop sign. That would be the south half, wouldn't it?
It would, up to the four-way stop.
Yes.
To 1156.
Yes, that,
1166 to 1156.
yes, sir. That is the most, that is the most highly populated part of that road. The north half of that road, there are only 2 residents on, and one is up near the four-way crossing, and the other is up near Shelton Road. So they, I would be curious, I'm not sure if that stop sign is halfway of that road, but it's close. I would think that might cut that in from 4 miles to 2, and plug that in and see what that does. If it saves us more money than you need to save, and we're able to do something like this, maybe we could look at just doing a spot level in that one, because the north end of the road, that's the part, the whole road's not gone, but there is one section that's maybe 80 yards long that is just horrible. And if we save enough money, maybe if we could just, when we do the south end, pay some serious attention to that 80 yards there, I think we could buy some time and make a lot of people happy right there and fix your shortfall just in my district there. If you'd be willing to look at it like that and get that back to them.
Sure. Yeah, I think if you're willing to, you know, be creative with that road, I think we could definitely eliminate the shortfall here.
Yeah, we can forward, this will forward, so that'll give some of the others time to look at their roads and see if they have any projects like that that can help save money too.
Right. And what I had hoped to do is present this to you tonight, give you all time to mull it over, give me your feedback, and then, you know, once we have this list like y'all want it, and you can individually give me your feedback, whatever, and then I'll kind of revise it and bring it back to you. But once we get this list like you want it, then I can pull projects off of here to put on the CTP. And then I can present a CTP to you for approval as required by the law.
Okay. Anything else?
We do have one item that requires action tonight. I believe it is in your agenda package, and that's the speed limit resolution for January 2256. So that's ready for your approval if you so choose.
Okay, the other one's not ready yet, so on card, please. Correct, Russell, stop or something like
I
that.
haven't got an answer, I'm gonna update you.
And the road vacations, the 2 road vacations are in process.
Anything else, Will?
Next meeting, I would say we'll go ahead, and I should have everything finished, and I'll talk to Russell about it as well, but should have it where you can set the hearing date. You have to, and then I'll run it to paper.
Okay.
That is not ready, not,
All right.
we got a few other little questions.
Anything else?
That's all we have.
Anybody got anything for the engineer? Okay, thank you. EMA, Mr. Herb. David, 911. Come on up.
So as part of our long-term plan, we've been implementing some new technologies that we're trying to keep you all informed about a little bit. One of the new technologies that is coming to us a little sooner now than expected is live video from cell phone callers. We've got 2 parts to that. We've got a primary part that comes from Motorola and a secondary part, a backup system for that's provided free through some vendors. But that system is expected to go live this Friday. And when somebody calls 911, we'll have the ability to send a text message link to them and get either multimedia off their phone, their location directly from the GPS device, or live video directly from the phone. So we expect that that's going to be a big lifesaver. It's going to go very well with our medical dispatch program. A big problem that we have seen nationwide from those types of programs is you give somebody instructions to perform CPR or a time maneuver or something, or covering up wounds, and they interpret it differently than what you're trying to say. And so this will give us and allow us to see that. Another instance would be something like a wildfire. One of the most important questions that we ask is how big is it? And that's hard for somebody to describe and try to gauge and compare that to something. So we'll be able to take that video and actually be able to forward it directly to responders. That part may take a little bit longer to figure out, but we'll get the video and we'll be able to assess it. So we think that that's going to be something that helps us out a lot. So that's the main thing. And I have another thing, I cannot remember what it is. I got distracted thinking about road. Oh, I know what it was, but I need to talk to you guys about that later.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Anybody got any questions? Thank you, David.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Chad's got one.
I was going to say, the virtual Pike County, it is back up, if you haven't seen, but it does not have the current voting data. That is an ongoing problem area for us, and we're in discussions with another vendor to try to replace that vendor with somebody else. I'm hopeful that we can get something better. And the new vendor is saying that if we're able to do that solution with them, it'll be live data, so the moment we have a new address, it'll be available and immediately available online, so GIS is a service. So we're very hopeful for that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Return report. Okay. Commissioner Barron, you want to speak on the request from the sheriff's department?
Yes, Sheriff Thomas and Bud reached out to me about the need some equipment to go in there, the vehicles, the new vehicles, the Tahoes. There's some steel boxes that they can put all their equipment in, the ammunition and the vest. And I believe the cost for McKinsey was $15,000 to come out of general fund.
A little less than that, but they're about $1,370, well, about $1,500 a piece, and we asked them for nine, you know, for nine.
Okay.
Yes. So I reached out, they reached out to me about it. I talked to all the commissioners individually about it. And the deputy showed me each vehicle and how they had to store them, and it needed to be under lock. All the guns and all the ammunition and stuff needs to be unlock and key in the vehicles.
All right. Are there any questions about any of that, or any comment? Okay, thank you. McKinsey.
The first item I we've got some different items from the different departments that just need some assets removed. Most of these items are just obsolete or they're no longer working and they just need them approved to be removed from our listing because of the cost or their original cost so that they can dispose of them. I don't think any of them really worth anything to be trying to sell or anything, it's just they're not working and obsolete. So if we can move that down to the next, to the current business and look at that at the next meeting, unless I got a question on any of it. We just have to keep that list up to date, because we have to check it annually, and our auditors spot check and choose and make sure the items are there, so we've got to keep it updated. The second item is a telephone system, an RFP for that. I don't have anything in writing right now, but it's come time that our current telephone system, the lease will end on that in the fall of this year, and this covers this building, the commission, the county offices in this building. It was at our EMA, of course it's been removed now since 911 is there, but with our juvenile buildings are, a lot of them are going to be consolidated into the new building. But we need to look at redoing that, plus including the telephone system for our new buildings. And so we've actually got somebody coming down tomorrow, we'll meet with Tommy with TCU and another guy, a consultant, to work on getting that RFP just right. We've had some issues with our current phone system. We can't go in and make changes ourselves to a name on a phone or an extension or something like that. It's been a real headache. You have to call. They've sold the company 2 or 3 times in this 5 years, and it's just a headache, and it's time. We also don't have any more phones, and they're obsolete, so we need more phones. So we're just going to talk and look at doing an RFP and run that for y'all to get that all set up, to move forward with that.
So I'm assuming, and I know you mentioned this kind of, so you're just going to have it written in such a way that, I guess maybe you're thinking about this new system will go into place until we're moved into the new system, to the new buildings,
Yes. We'll want it to all come online together.
and have some leeway
Yes.
at the old courthouse where when we have to move stuff around.
Because we'll need some leeway, yeah, for the offices once we go to consolidating places.
Some of the language in that could be tricky.
Yeah, and that's why I reached out to Tommy and said, I think we're going to need somebody with a whole lot more sense than I have to help us out on getting that just right. So we're also going to have to have it pieced out, perhaps paid for, because, you know, our bill, where our bill's written, anything that's going out to these complexes can be paid through that bill. And so we'll definitely want to take advantage of that. I know, these can be really costly items, and so we want to make sure we want something up to date that's not already 5 years old, because that's just too long in technology. So that's why we want to go and run in a consultant, make sure we're getting what we need and make sure it works the way we need it to work. But yes, it needs to be kind of all at the same time, that new things are, new numbers coming online and everything, we want to do it all together. It just kind of worked out perfectly that our lease is ending about the same time that this is happening. That I'll just, well, like I said, we'll meet tomorrow on that, and once I have some more information, I'll have it back. We'll look at and talk about. Under current business, under item number 2, the CDBG-CV grant. As you all know, we had originally bid out and signed a contract on 2 ambulances. They are only able to provide one, or just didn't do enough chassis for everybody, and so the company is only able to provide us with one. And it's really not their fault, it's that they can't get the item they need to build ambulance. So I've talked to Ashton, that helps us do the CDBG grants. And the next item would be that either we can find one to buy on a sale, or find one that somebody has ordered and didn't buy. We thought we had found one like in North Dakota or somewhere. That did not pan out. And so we have gotten word that Dodge, the other key to this is this grant ends in February of 23. So we've got to do what we're going to do before February of 23. It's okay, we can amend our contract on the ambulance and just go from 2 to 1, that's not a problem. But we need to look at doing, another bid. The only thing we can find is I think that the Dodge is about to start producing the new chassis for the next year. And we think that maybe if we could find a Dodge, put out an RFP for a Dodge chassis, that we could find somebody that possibly could get one and build one for us, before that February date. There's also been chatter that because the type of grant this is a federal grant, a lot of people aren't going to get what they needed for this grant. It had to do with the COVID money, and it was kind of medical emergency type stuff, as long as we went the route with the ambulance system. We're hoping that they extend that date past February. But if we could go ahead and do our RFP, we'll have to advertise that, it has to go in the paper for 3 weeks, and then once we receive it, we could get a bid approved. We're hoping that they could actually get the chassis built in time for us to have the box and everything else put on the truck, or a company to do that, whoever can bid comes back the best bid on the course. So what I'm asking for is permission to bid out for another ambulance. There could possibly, very likely be an issue with, the cost would probably be more than what we originally had for the other ambulance. So that would be something we need to discuss as far as funding, but until we know what the actual bid comes back, I can't tell you, it might be 5,000, it could be 50,000. We have no clue until the bid comes back how much the difference will be. So that'll be another bridge we'll have to cross once we even get a bid back on it, as to what we do, what about funding and all of this.
Anybody got any questions about that?
Chief and assistant chief handling the RFP word.
Yes, they've been the one, they have already sent me the wording, I've already got it ready on the desk, I just need approval from y'all. They got that sent to me today. And if you see them, thank them, they have been on the phone with, I think, every state in the United States trying to find one that we could just somehow figure out something to buy or something, that just, we're the government, we've got to go through the bidding process, and it just doesn't work like that for us. So this is going to be the best way to move forward. We just got to hope for the best too about it, that it can even be done, because I hate to lose $200,000, and essentially we'll lose that grant funds if we can't get this figured out.
So, question.
No, I'm
I'm just thinking out loud. I'm sure they've already thought about this, but, so if you can't find an ambulance, would another piece of like rescue equipment qualify?
Your problem is the chassis that go in these vehicles. There's not any. This money went out there so everybody, all these governments went out there buying them. And what they did is they pretty much tried to make sure every municipality or county government, state, federal, whatever, got at least half of their order. We ordered 2, we got 1. If we'd have known that, we ordered 4 and got 2, but we didn't know that at the time.
They didn't deliver it.
Yeah. So, because the other ambulance, they actually think we're hoping any day now, we're gonna get a call that, it's ready to be picked up. They're ready to start running it with that extra, the additional funds that we were awarded for everybody that taking that money with the state, getting that money with the state. Just about all of that extra equipment has come in, at this time.
Is there a requirement in there that has to be new?
No, we can't find a use. Not one that is reliable and we're spending money on.
Just-
No, they've hunted that down too, tried to see if they could find one, but there's not any, they can't find one. I think they found some that had an astronomical amount of miles and stuff on the road.
Just curious if it was restricted to new
We
home.
could have done that, and they have looked,
We're the sole recipient of that, right?
yes, we are.
I'm sorry.
I don't know, did you mention, said Dodge is going to start making them?
Dodge is getting ready to go ahead and put the chassis, the large chassis that go and put like that, they're getting ready to start manufacturing again for the new fiscal year, or whatever they call it, making that.
Okay.
Ford and Chevrolet, those are the only other companies I know of that would make that in the United States, they don't have a planned start date on making that chassis, that size chassis.
So we still don't know when we start to make it.
Right, we don't know for sure. That's the thing about that we need to get this bid out there and in place so that if they can, if we can get it, they can be one of the first people to get it ordered. whoever the company is that happens to get the bids. Because it'll probably go, I mean, it not probably, it will go out, if anybody wants to bid on it, but I feel like, I mean, there's only so many companies that build ambulances. I feel like there'll be a lot of the same ones that bid before, they'll come back with bids this time. But I believe maybe like August 1st or something is the first day that you can put in an order. But it may be like, the trucks that we, or the Tahoes that we just tried to order for the sheriff and for the revenue or reappraisal, and they were told, we don't know if you're got in there in time, and we won't know until they come off the line. You get in those vehicles now, you'll have to wait another year. Oh, yeah. But Dodge is the first to start making these again, and so that's why we're choosing, this last time we didn't go with Dodge, we looked at, it was a, I think it ended up being a Ford that did it, that it was a gas burner. This will probably be a diesel because that's what's gonna be made next.
So we have to have them ordered before the deadline and not received.
That's the other question. I sent Ashton some more questions.
Okay.
I mean, we could get here 4 or 5 weeks from now when we get the bids back and go, there's no way to do it. I mean, or do we want a chance, $200,000, get them all out of our pocket, order it and it not be here? Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions, but we definitely have to get this bid out there. We can always no bid,
Sure.
not accept a bid.
Reject, yeah.
These bids just have, they have to be advertised for 3 consecutive weeks. So you're looking at least 4 weeks from now, but that's going to be time to be ordered the chassis, so we need to go ahead and move forward, at least put the bid out there. So, and we'll just see what we can find out between now and the time it's time to go. The next item is going to be, item number, say, 6, the retail beer. The place did not realize that they needed to be advertising, so they have started the advertising process. I hope at the next meeting, they'll have their paperwork in to be able to be approved. We have held it the amount of days that we are required to hold it, the application, but we'll need the affidavit, but it's my understanding they do have it advertised in the paper now. Probably should be in about week 2 now, I think, again advertised. It has to be 4 weeks. The next item, Electronic Meeting Act number 2022-421. I did put some information in there in your package on that. Essentially, it would be to allow us to have an electronic meeting, which means somebody could call in to the meeting, one of the commissioners, if they followed the certain steps of letting somebody, let the chairman know. There's a sample letter that would be used in the policy, it could be an email or whatever, to go to the chairman, requesting that they're out sick, can't come to the meeting. We did it very simple as to the way to not give us not many options for somebody to call in, pretty much that we would just have to have a phone with speakers provided at a meeting if somebody needs to be in a meeting electronically. Like I told y'all before, it's very strict, like you gotta be sick, you gotta have a legitimate sick, not off at your family's vacation, calling in on the meeting. You have to be able to actually be a sick reason to be able to call in to do the meeting. If it's something, and you also, we have to have this resolution in place for 45 days before it can even be used. So it's up to y'all if you want to go ahead and move forward with it. We did use the sample information that was sent to us from the ACCA. I've looked at it, it looks pretty straightforward to me, but it'd be a decision for y'all if you wanted to even allow electronic meetings, because we have to post and share all this information, stating that y'all have adopted a policy to allow such. So there's a resolution and a policy in there. If y'all want to look at it and talk about it later or whatever it is in there.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, the next item will be the levies for the new ABC license type. I talked to the ABC Control Board, and there is, they do not have any restrictions on what the county license fee can be, like they do with some of their licenses. So I would suggest we do like we do with every other license. We do the same amount as the state, and just move forward with keeping that the same as we do every other one of our licenses, just to make it easier when we go to redo and renew and re-levy the taxes every single year. Questions on that? All right. We are working on the budget. We hopefully, we need to look at probably start setting budget hearings for that first meeting in August.
Okay. We may as well, at the regular meeting, go ahead and set a time for that, so.
So that we'll all have.
We've had some outreach from the public about them to come and speak, so we'll definitely need to get those people that have requested to speak onto a list so that I can let them know when to come. So we'll just need to set a time for when we're gonna start meeting and let them know when to come. And then the item number 11 is the opioid settlement resolution. What you have in your package is a resolution that authorizes the chairman of the commission to sign any settlements that are put out there, I guess, by any of these opioid companies that they're going after for settlements. That this would allow, instead of having to bring each and every settlement to the commission as they come in from each company, it would allow the chairman to sign and accept what our attorneys are out there working on for us. Alan has looked at it, and I think he agreed with Ms. Christina to go ahead and do it this way just for the ease of y'all. We've actually got 2 right now to be signed. We don't have a dollar amount yet because it's kind of one of those, the judge sets it and figure out how many people get a piece of the pie. Is that right? Pretty much. So, that is a resolution that you have in your package that we'd like to, for y'all to go ahead and approve.
And, you know, the way that these things work, something this big, I don't know how many pharmaceuticals are involved in the big, huge class action lawsuit. I mean, I've seen and read names, stuff they've sent us, and then just in reading articles online, their names of companies I had never heard of that contributed. I mean, they're paying a lot of money. The common ones you've heard of are paying a lot of money. So, but there's a lot. This will go on for years. I mean, before they finally conclude the thing. So what Christy Crowe, who works through Beasley, Cheer Beasley's firm, is working on the thing for us to represent in the big conglomerate class action. There will be settlement agreements trickling in over time as they dispose of one at a time, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. And so really the choice is, we're not going to determine how much we get. It's not like a lawsuit, like if Pike County sued XYZ contractor for not doing what we paid them to do in the contract, we would know what our damages are going to be in our recovery. This is going to be arbitration, this is going to be across the nation, this is going to be Alabama divided up, Attorney General gets involved, so we'll get what we're told, this is your cut. And there's nothing, I mean, that's just how it works. So if you want that presented back to the full commission each time, and again, not like it's going to be every month. It's going to be spread out a long time.
Access to all of the information.
Pike County Commission regular meeting will now come to order. Give by your head. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the day. Thank you for all the blessings that you give us and those that we take for granted. But we just want to take a moment and say thank you. Father, I thank you for this body of people here that are trying to make decisions for the benefit of the people of this county. Give us the wisdom to do so and give you the glory in all things we do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
show that all commissioners are present. Approving of the minutes from the June 27th meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Barron. Second by Commissioner Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approving of the claims. Motion by Commissioner Wright. Second by Commissioner Pearson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Engineer report.
Mr. Chairman, the only item we have requiring action is the resolution for the speed limit of 2256.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion to approve the engineer's request to set speed limit 35 miles per hour on 2256.
Motion by Commissioner Copeland.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything else?
That's all we have.
Any more questions for the engineer? Thank you. Ian, anything to add? David, anything to add?
One quick one.
Yes, sir. Please do.
In the last legislative session, the legislature passed a bill requiring that dispatchers in the state be certified. And there's educational requirements and things that go along with that. I want to let everyone know that we currently far exceed that standard that's being pushed now. The state's intent is to set it now at about the average, and over time increase that. And I don't foresee them, currently, I don't foresee them exceeding what we already intend, what we're already doing.
Okay.
But I'm on the committee that is going to be setting those standards and approving courses and CQs and instructors.
Good. Thank you. Have anything to add?
Nothing, bro.
Commissioner Barron would ask that we suspend the rules so that we can go ahead and get these boxes ordered to come along with the vehicle.
That's okay with the commission.
If the commission be all right with that.
Quick question on just, I guess, FYI question. So I'm assuming this will be something that from here on out, we're just going to do trucks. We're outfitting the trucks with the ones that got them from here on out, we're just going to.
Well, or possibly unless they change the make of the dimensions of the vehicle, it may, I think there's something, I think the city pulls them from, and you show them
I
in.
mean, it's mounted and everything.
Yeah, commissioner.
So in other words, if they're surplus in the truck, that's nice.
Commissioner Johnson, right, it's made for that vehicle. If so, have the commission, I'd like to suspend the rules and we can move forward.
Motion by Commissioner Barron to suspend the rules. Second by Commissioner Pearson. This requires a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, that motion carries.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the chair's request for 9 lock boxes for
Okay.
deputies. vehicles.
Motion by Commissioner Barron.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Pearson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Administrative report.
All right, I'll ask that my 2 items in my report be moved down to current business for the next meeting. Under current business, I would like to request to approve the bidding of an ambulance for the CDBG grant.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Copeland.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, do you want to consider taking action on electronic meeting, or would you like to move that forward?
Just forward it again.
Then the next item will be the levies for the ABC license type.
Chairman, I'll put that in motion.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
All right, the next item would be the opioid settlement resolution, if you would consider going ahead and approving this.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Pearson. Second by Commissioner Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
We probably need to go ahead and set budget hearings to we're doing the first meeting in August.
I think 3 p.m. would probably be good enough to start. 3 o'clock on August, what is it? Yeah, look at that thing.
I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Oh, wait, no, 8, yeah.
August the 8th. 3
Right, we'll
p.m.
get those, set.
be here in this room?
I'm interested in the.
That's all?
We probably need to make a motion for that.
Chairman, I'd like to put in a motion, we start basic hearings on August 8th at 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Pearson, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Closing comments, Commissioner Wright?
No.
Commissioner Barron? Commissioner Copeland? Commissioner Pearson? And Commissioner Johnson? Okay. Nothing else needs to come before the commission at this time. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Pearson. We are adjourned.